Hello and welcome to Jeannie's art video once more. Today, as one of my experiments, what am I going to do? I'm trying to paint a sunflower. Now I've got a few ideas in my head going, and one of the things, because I like to experiment, I note down when I'm looking through the internet different things that catch my eye, and one of the suggestions I've seen is that to use less floetrol and more water. I usually go for a sort of 50-50 mix and make it to this kind of consistency you can see here. But today I've put about 20% floetrol and just done the rest with water. The suggestion I saw was that you really need more floetrol for the fluid acrylics that are sort of, or inks that are very dense, but the ordinary paints such as I normally use, like these, have quite a lot of body in them already, and you don't need the floetrol to use the extra. I have used more floetrol on this little one here. That's 50-50 again, more or less, because it's a gold mica powder, and obviously it is just pure powder, so that's for that one. And this green I've mixed up myself, which actually is a little thick looking, so I'm just going to put a bit more water in there. These little plastic droppers are really handy for just adding tiny bits like that. In the past I used to just tip it out and then I'd get it too thin and then I'd add more paint, and it was like, yeah, I'd have huge pots of paint and then end up pouring just to try and use up the paint, which is a bit of a waste. So it's kind of suck it and see. We'll see what happens. Having lost paintings off the edge of the canvas, I'm a bit anal about measuring and making sure it's level to start with. So I also tend to put, I want a lot of white around it, and I tend to put far too much colour on there. So what I'm going to try today, instead of actually using cups, I tried these little tiny ones, but I still put too much paint on those. So I'm going to try and pour it with this little one, and I'm going to start off with the brown in the middle, which is great because I haven't mixed any brown, I've just realised. Very clever of me. Hold on one moment. Brown, where are you, brown? Here we are. I'll just use a little of this Van Dyke brown, quickly mix it up. Illustration in mixing now as well. Yeah, get it all here. I do have the most dreadful memory, so it's no surprise that I forget things like that. I'm the kind of person that walks from one room into the next and then I've forgotten what I go there for. So this floetrol's nearly at an end, but that's about what I've been putting in, and then just mixing it up with water. So that won't take a minute. Well, might take a minute. Mix the floetrol in first. That just really helps to get any lumps out. If you kind of do it all at once, then sometimes it goes a bit lumpy. And yeah, that looks about right. Okay, I'm going to put little drops of treadmill silicone in this. On my list of things to try, I've got coconut oil. I'm going to do that. I like to only do one different thing at a time. I've also got some Liquitex pouring medium to try. Again, that'll be another video. When you're experimenting, it's really best to do one thing at a time, otherwise you're not going to know which bit works, and you try and reproduce it, mess up. So yeah, I keep a little notepad here as well of all my bits and things that I've tried, so I can see what works, what didn't. You're never going to recreate anything exactly, but you can have a go at it, see how it comes out. At least it gives you more of an idea if you've got a record of what you did. I'm not mixing the silicone too much. Sometimes I don't put silicone in at all. It's just whatever you feel like on the day. I haven't put any in the white because I'm mostly going to just pour that around the edge. So yeah, we'll start off with a little bit of brown in the middle. Put a bit of brown in the bottom. It's never all one colour, and I like little bits of all colours in, so I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow in it. And again, that will help with getting some cells, hopefully. Making it a little bit more interesting. I'll put a tiny bit of white. Can you see what I'm doing there? Yes, just about. Here, I'll move it up there. That's better, isn't it? I've changed the angle of the video today, so I'm trying to work out what you can see on there. And that's literally all I've got there. Where are we? There. Yep, that's it. If I tip it too much, it's gonna tip out. Right, and I'm just gonna think, where do I want that? Here somewhere. There. Poke it on, pour some white round. No, I don't want white, I want yellow there, don't I? I'll leave the white for now, I think. No, I won't. I'll pour the white round because I want to blow the paint, don't I? Yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only person who just makes up what they're doing on the fly. Might as well pour some around the edges while we're there. This is why I mixed up a big batch of white. Hopefully I'll have enough. Spread it all over. And it might be a total disaster, but it's a bit of paint. As you can see, I'm using an old canvas. Had a painting on that I decided I just didn't like anymore. I'm sure, again, that must happen to a lot of people. Right. I think that's had time to tip out of that little pot now. Let's give it a go and see. Here we go. Right. Ooh, push a bit of white up to the edges there. Not much coming out there, is there? See if we can scrape a bit more out. It's a bit pale looking, so I'm just going to drop some brown straight into it. And yeah, I kind of want, looking at that now, that sunflower, can you see it there? Yeah, I want that sort of a little curve, so I'm just going to pour a bit round like that. That lovely rich dark. I might drop a little bit of gold on that because I do like my bits of glitter everywhere. There we are. Give it a little swirl. I've got some little sticks and just let it do its own thing. There we are. That's quite fun, isn't it? That will do. And then I want some yellow. What I didn't do on the other one and what I normally do is spray a bit of silicone in the cups, and that just helps it pour out. Yellow. So spray that in. I've got two different yellows here. Just put that on the edge so you can see. Yep. And I'll just pour little bits of them in. Tried breaking the stick up there. Somebody said that you're less likely to knock them over if you break the sticks up. No, I just can't get a grip on it, so, and I'm just layering them again. I'm going to blob a bit of gold in there. Bit of darker, might even put a tiny bit of green in. If I had some blue, I might perhaps drop a bit of that. If I was painting it, I would probably drop a bit of blue in and the brown in these shadowy bits, but we'll see how it comes out. Like I say, might work, might not, but it's fun to portray. Painting should be fun. You shouldn't worry about doing it right or wrong. I'm going to give that a little quick swirl. And again, if I can look, can you see how that is there? And I'm just going to pour this round the brown. And then, oops, I don't really want all that green in it. You're probably thinking, oh, that looks an awful mess. I'm going to take the straw, this is my hopeful idea, and I'll lift it off there a minute, get it closer. I want to blow the paint, so I can get some petals quite round. Perhaps I should have had a smaller straw. I've got a double layer there, that's quite handy. Right. Well, it actually looks as though it's pointing that way instead of that way, so I might, no, I wanted the stem to come down here. I'm going to leave it that way, but I might again take my little stick and just add a few little definitions in, so that I'm kind of shaping some little petals as we go. That looks quite fun, doesn't it? Yeah, I quite like this. See if I can keep it without making it all go wrong. I tend to fiddle too much with paintings instead of just leaving them, and there's a point where I think, oh, that looks nice, and then all of a sudden I've lost it. And I'm going to use a little bit of the darker yellow there as well, just maybe to do a bit inside, sort of kind of create second row of petals. Yeah, not too much again. If I fiddle too much, you might just put a few lines up there like that. I really envisage the yellow being a bit brighter here, but it's not too bad. I could always pour a little bit more yellow on afterwards if I wanted, but until I put the green on. Right, green, what am I going to do with that? Might give this cup another little spray. See how it poured out a lot easier? I'm going to use the same cup. It hasn't got much in it of colours, so I'm just going to pour a bit of green, a bit of white, because that green's quite dark. Bit of yellow maybe. When you look at colours, they're never all one. I mean, it's much darker there. Yeah, I might put a little bit there and then put a bit more yellow in for it further down. Another little bit. Perhaps a tiny bit of brown with that. Just a couple of spots. Right. Give it a little stir with my stick. Can you see? I'm going to give it a little stir around. And I've got a little bit, I'll pull this bit first. Dog's barking, you can hear her friend. They hate each other, two little dogs. The other little Jack Russell's always leaping up at the fence. I think one day it's going to leap right over. I don't know who'll be more surprised, Roxy or the other dog. Yeah, looking at those. There's just a few little bits of green that I can see. You might not be able to see it from there, but I'm just going to pull them out into some little shapes. So I've got a fade leaf point there. I might try and blow those ones into shape and then point them at the end. We'll see. Here we go. Oops, make sure I've got the right end. No, don't want a mouthful of paint. Oops. Oh, running out of puff. You can see now the colours. There's that dark green and the lighter yellow there. Just makes it a bit more interesting, I think, anyway. Right, blew that one a bit far, but it doesn't matter. There is no... I've lost a little... Okay, quickly find another one. It's probably rolled on the floor, one of my little stands. There we go. And again, I'm just going to pull it out a little bit, pull some little points out. Yeah, that looks better, doesn't it? I don't even really need to dip it into the paint here. I will need to put a bit more. Let's just push that around a little bit. There we go. I've got quite a lot of paint on, so it's kind of, and I've got some really nice, I love these kind of cell bits. There, that looks, oh, like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit more yellow because I want the stem to be lighter. So a bit more yellow, and there's the white, a bit more white. I might add a little more silicone in that as well and just see if it, I don't really want a long line of boring. So a couple of drops of silicone, can you see? Yep. And give that a little stir. And I'm just going to pour this along and see how it goes. I'm just going to take my white. I don't want to, once I've got it down, I don't really want to, damn, got a bit of yellow on my white there. Yeah, that'll be okay. Who's a purist about colour? I just did that because as I did this, if it does come right, fingers crossed, I don't want to then go and disturb it by, go from there, I think, down to here, and again. I don't mind that I'm getting some gaps and some white there because that's fine. I'm going to use my little stick to pull it down again. Yeah, that's okay. And I'll just pull it up and down. I don't think the silicone did much. It might if I took a lolly stick and swiped down it. Should I try that? Let's see. I'll get a clean one. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on it there and just swipe it down, see what happens. Not a lot really. I could put the hint, I think, of a little leaf maybe out the side here, you think? And put it in there. I want a pointier stick. Wish I hadn't done that really. Not sure I like it now, but that will do. Not too bad. Let it go off the edge. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. What I'm going to do now is just drop a little bit more gold on there because I can't resist it. Maybe a little bit down there. And then I don't like just blobs, so I'm going to twink them along with my little stick. And I think I'm going to leave that how it is. I'm just going to fill in the white around the edges, but you don't really want to see that, that's boring. If it's dry tomorrow or the next day, I'll take a picture, show you, and thank you very much for watching. Anything you want me to try out, if I've got the stuff here, I'll give it a go. Just put it in the comments. And once more, if you want to look up Jeannie's Art Adventures, you'll find more of my experiments there. Bye.